Well, good morning. Here's your Entrepreneur News Minute for November 5th, 2024. I'm Phil Greenwood, formerly of the Wisconsin School of Business at University of Wisconsin-Madison, retired and enjoying being your broadcaster. Okay, today the article that I picked to just quickly go over, this was an article that's online at Forbes Online. You can see the link on the slide. But it was an article by Nick Bariza, who's a council member of Forbes, contributor. He's a founder of Unimatch AI. He writes a lengthy blog post article about how to evaluate early stage startups. Now, I'm always a bit leery of these kind of articles because it seems like they all say the same thing. But this one is pretty comprehensive, gives you a little background. I recommend reviewing it. Now, from a teaching standpoint, when I would ever talk about in new venture creation or other classes how to evaluate startups, I just would always start with there's a million ways to evaluate startups, and you always have to come up with kind of your own checklist, your own whatever, and what what your perspective is. Are you an investor, a banker, whatever? But first off, when you have a list like in the Forbes listing, you always have to be wary of, well, really, what is the most, when you got like 50 variables, what is the most valuable one? And you don't have time. I mean, you'll go through it and you're going to find out there's a lot of negatives on that list, even though it might still be a valuable startup. So what I recommend is that you try to narrow down the number of variables. And what's one way to do it? Well, Professor Bill Solomon, who taught for years at the Harvard Business School in entrepreneurship, had basically a classic article in the Harvard Business Review on how to evaluate startups, how to evaluate entrepreneurial opportunities, how venture capitalists make decisions, and so on. But he literally said there's four general criteria that make up a really good entrepreneurial opportunity, and you want these four to fit together well before you make an investment or you even start the venture. First off is the people, which pretty much makes sense, but you're looking at things like experience, have they worked together, industry background, but a lot of it depends on where the startup is, what the stage is. Secondly, of course, is the opportunity, the market, the competition, all of those things. Third is the context, which looks at, legal background, the legal environment, economy, all these different things. And then finally, and this is one I really encourage students or entrepreneurs to focus on, is what's the deal structure? Sometimes you might have your idea might have fit all three out of the four, but when it comes to the deal, maybe it just doesn't meet the needs of the investor or whoever's making the investment. So you always have to think about that. And deals, not just valuation. It's not just amount of money. It can be things like governance. Who's going to be on the board of directors? What's the timing of future financing and things of that nature? So you have to really be wary. But these four generally cover. If you evaluate a startup, this will be a great way. If all four variables turn out well, then you probably have a good venture as long as it fits your investment needs. In classes, I would use this Professor Stephen Kaplan from University of Chicago method of evaluating new venture opportunities. He called it the outsides impact. And I'll look at this, probably break it down into 3 or 4 different news minutes because it's pretty detailed, but I always find it pretty valuable in helping how venture capitalists and angel investors criteria they use to make investment decisions. Have a great day. We'll talk.